Welcome, everybody. I am Jeff Poseel from Dogwood Projects. Thank you so much for being here to the Write and Grow workshop. We have people coming from all over the world joining us, so thank you very much. We also have people coming from different industries and different professional backgrounds and with many different interests in their professional world. And right here, we've all gathered to talk about creating content online and what that can really do for us. So if you're not quite sure where Dogwood Projects come from or who I am exactly, most likely you're part of one of my communities. So Dogwood Projects is the housing for my creative businesses. So I'm a solopreneur. So I'm an independent professional. I work with a few clients, but primarily I run Dogwood Projects, which is made up of several different online communities. Leadership Think Tank is a group on LinkedIn with nearly 300,000 members. We have a newsletter that runs alongside of that. We have the HR newsletter. It's called HR Endeavors. So these are human resource professionals and people in the organizational development field. And then we have Work Shapes newsletter. This is more from the employee perspective. It's made up of a lot of sales and marketing professionals. And we talk a lot more about the employee experience and the future of work. So right now, obviously, we're covering a lot of work from home type things, which I'm doing right now. You're doing right now. I do this on a regular basis, but it's completely different with a family home, and we're all dealing with that sort of stuff. That can be worth its own webinar one day. And I also have the Inhale Digest newsletter. This is a media and marketing in the cannabis industry newsletter that just launched recently. And primarily I write on LinkedIn and I run these newsletters and I work with some clients on content strategy. So you could be coming from one of these communities, a LinkedIn contact. This is really where I focus a lot of my energy and my resources and my content creation and building up these little brands and connecting with clients through LinkedIn. And so how I got here is by writing and paying attention to content online. So I've shifted my career several times in the last decade. I used to work for an investment consulting firm, coming out of school as a financial planner. When I left that career, the first thing that I did was start a blog. I didn't have any experience writing. I definitely wasn't a professional writer. And at that time, I didn't know where I was going to go, what industry I wanted to work in, where I wanted to take my skills. But the thing that I did know is that I did believe in myself. I trusted my education. I trusted my experiences. And I trusted that I had these skills that could be transferred into, other industries and other businesses. Things like client management, relationship management, even just working in any sort of office really provides you a background to take that off, just generally how you act in a day. There's a lot of skills and experience and knowledge that you have that you maybe don't understand that can be utilized in other areas. And for some reason at that time, I trusted that notion. And I started writing and I created a blog. And I shifted my role into more of a marketing standpoint. And I was out in the field and I was running a team. I hired people. I was managing things. And that was in the beverage industry. Then soon I shifted once again through a lot of writing, developing my own ideas, but then also paying attention to how companies in the field were marketing and developing training materials. And this led to my next opportunity where I was coaching and training marketing to retail professionals. Every week I was coaching hundreds of people in rooms and basically training them on how to implement their marketing plans in their own retail locations. Once I shifted again into basically online marketing, I ran an affiliate network for web publishers. Over the course of 4 years, I worked with thousands of different web publishers, helping them develop their content, grow their audiences online, and really implement this sort of communication process utilizing content online. I'm not the most technical person, so I'm not talking about SEO or any of these sort of like back end web development sort of things. But I'm talking about communicating using very simple language, finding your tribe. Okay. And so a couple years ago, had the opportunity. My family moved, and now I've shifted into becoming a web publisher myself, developing these communities. And so here we all are. The Write and Grow Workshop. Writing is the foundation of growth. Okay? Jim Rohn says that if you're serious about becoming a wealthy, powerful, sophisticated, healthy individual, cultured, and unique, you keep a journal. So, the Write and Grow Workshop. What I'm hearing from a lot of the people that I'm talking to in all of my communities is that they're looking for ideas and knowledge to improve their profile. Let's see what else we have here. Working on getting your message out. I don't know how to pitch myself and my skills. I want to ignite content creation within myself so I can better express myself through written communication. I have a journal and I write ideas down. I want to explore them more, but I have trouble jumping in. I want to promote myself more. I want to promote my book. I'm always looking for ways to contribute, and I'm not sure how. I'm currently creating my own website for independent contracting, going into run a network marketing business, and I'm looking for strategies to grow your network. So what we're talking about here now is taking your profile and turning it into more of a portfolio through writing and creating consistent content online. If you think about just those two words, a profile, sort of like this outer layer, and you can think about your LinkedIn profile. It's essentially your resume, right? And what we'll talk about later on is how you can kind of boost that up to, you can literally move things around in your profile. You can highlight articles and the posts and all of your activity to build more of this portfolio. So a portfolio, if you think about it like a briefcase or in that matter, it's encompassing things, it's holding things, it's all of these things that are inside of you. So what we want to do is sort of recreate your profile into more of a portfolio. And if you think of somebody in a creative field, if you're a graphic artist, if you're an editor, if you're a writer, on any sort of job application or conversation like that, somebody's gonna say, "Oh, hey, send me a link to your portfolio." And if you're a photographer and you don't have a website with your photos available, you're most likely not going to get hired. Okay, and now this isn't just about getting another job, but it's about bringing more of who you are to the surface so that other like-minded people can connect with you. And you might not know what that leads to down the road, but you're enhancing your knowledge through writing. You're improving your writing skills, which is kind of the foundation of growth, like I'm saying. And you're making new connections. So you never know that something that you write connects with somebody and you may end up working with them in the future somehow. Okay? So writing is the foundation of growth. It's been the foundation of growth throughout all of my own career shifts. And even if you're not looking to change your career right now, it's a good idea to kind of have this foundation available for other people. So we're going to jump right into this, okay? So we're going to go through a few things. The focus here today is going to be removing barriers to content creation. And I have 3 strategies for you to do that. 3 strategies that I use every single day in order to just make publishing content that much easier, okay? We're also going to talk about your personal posting strategy. So how to design when and where you're posting and what you're posting where. We're going to keep this very simple. Again, the main focus here today is the 3 areas of content creation, removing barriers to get you publishing. Writing is great, having a journal is great, but when you publish something, what you're doing is you're creating this learning loop, because without any sort of feedback or engagement, and having other people sort of collaborate in the means of likes and comments and creating connections, growing your network, that's where you're kind of putting this information out into the world, your thoughts, your perceptions, your opinions, things you're thinking about, questions you have. And closing that learning loop through meeting other people and connecting with other people. So after your how to design your personal posting strategy, we're going to talk about thinking of your connections and your fans and customers as more of a community. And then we'll go through some of those quick ways to sort of turn your profile into more of a portfolio, literally online using your LinkedIn profile. We'll also have some tools that we'll go over, and that's about it. So let's go right here. We're getting into this right now. 3 models for content creation. Just going to flip around right here. I have some notes. So again, whether you're pursuing a new career, you're interested in building a new hobby, you have a side hustle, you want to start a new business, you have an established business, but you want to just build up this profile, it's really a way for self-education and career advancement kind of combined in one thing. So removing barriers to content creation. There's an emotional side to it. There's a technical side to it. You might be emotionally resistant. You might feel technically inefficient, okay? You can be excited about something. You can journal, but then you get hesitant, or maybe you're just like exhausted at the end of like getting all these ideas out on the paper that you just don't really know what to do with next. You might not consider yourself an industry expert or not a great writer. Teaching and sharing online only needs to work for the people that are actually interested in those things. So you put something out into the world, only the people that are going to find it interested or know you are going to kind of come in contact with it. And teaching is really just about showing somebody who is a step or 2 or 3 steps behind you. I couldn't jump into a PhD class in biology right now because those people are so far advanced. So if you just turn around and you look at where you were a year ago, you could teach that person something right now, okay? So if you're naturally interested in something, learn more about it through writing, okay? So the first, number 1, content audit, okay? Content audit is the first means to creating content. This means to seek value in things that you've already written and created in another way. This is about repurposing content. This is a pillar of an idea in the content marketing world, that you create a piece of content and it's relevant in several other forms on several other platforms. So most likely you've been educating someone along the way. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're a manager, you probably have these materials that you've created over time, different training materials, different sales pitches, presentations. So the number 1 is a content audit. Again, seeking value in things that you already have created. You most likely have things in your email inbox, stored on your computer, in a journal, that are 60, 70, 80, 90% of the way there to publishing. Might just take a little bit of editing and some reformatting. So you might have things that you can just simply copy and paste right into a LinkedIn post today. And I think that you can all do that right after you finish watching this. So what I'm trying to talk to you about here is changing your perception of what it means to create content. Heightening your awareness for what value you bring to offer somebody else. So the material is most of the way there. I want you to dive into your email inbox. I want you to look at your school or your work presentations, cover letters, different pitches that you might have written, training materials that have been developed, social posts that you've done in the past, school reports, or things that you've done to prep for interviews. If you have a journal, dive into that journal, those journal entries, pull out some of those quotes, pull out some of those ideas, and get them published. Post them on LinkedIn. Okay? You might have a note apps or memos. I use Google Docs. You might have memos that you store in your phone of just ideas. So again, what I want to do is really change your perception for what it means to create content. I don't want you to feel like you have a blank page with a cursor blinking in front of you, because you have things that you've already created that are near ready for publishing right now. And I'm positive of that. So the first way to remove barriers to content creation is to look at what you already have. Do an audit. Dive into your email inbox. Go to your sent folder. Look at the things that you've written and created somewhere else. Did you ever do any slides or put together, again, sort of presentations in all these different aspects? You most likely have something most of the way there. The second model for content creation is my favorite: consume and create. Have you ever heard "you are what you eat"? Right? This is a process of bringing an awareness to the information that you're taking in. When you're taking something new in, you have the ability to put something new out. The media and entertainment, the newsletters that you're reading, the podcasts that you're listening to, the documentaries, the movies, the articles that you're reading, the books that you're reading, everything that you're reading, watching, listening to, take notes. Hey, I'm listening to this podcast. It made me think of this. You took down a few notes, and then you can turn that around. What's that accounting method? Last in, first out, right? So we are all consuming a lot of different media. If you're watching a movie on Netflix, it probably stirs up some sort of emotional reaction into you. It might spur some sort of thoughts, right? So everything that you're taking in has the ability to sort of refilter through your own perspectives, your own opinions, your own experiences, and whatever you put out is going to be unique and original. Again, use your email inboxes. Look at the newsletters that you're reading. Look at the things that you're subscribed to. Look at what you're actually opening. Look at the websites that you're going to. What sort of bits of things that you're reading are inspiring you somehow? What's leading one thought to the next? What's driving curiosity inside of you? It gives you the ability to start with something without a completely blank page on the paper. Once again, same thing as the content audit. Look for things that you already have happening in your regular life. Rather than sitting here saying, oh, I need to think of something, I have to come up with an idea. You already have ideas flooding your body and your brain all day long. So spin them out into your own creations. Write something about the way something else made you feel. The consume and create model is one of my favorites and a go-to. Number 3, we're moving on to the curate model. So it's similar to the previous 2 models where you don't have to think of it as starting from zero. You can pull together different resources that you are already using. So literally curating means to just, I'm looking at a bookshelf right here and I have 10 books on the bookshelf. I can make a list of the 10 books that are on my bookshelf. I'm curating that from something that just exists around me. Same thing for maybe you find yourself reading certain newsletters. Here are 5 newsletters that I enjoy, curated. Here are the people that I find myself following on LinkedIn, curated. Here are the most websites that I follow. Here are the Instagram thing that I follow. Here are my ideas from the last 10 days. Okay, so you need to separate the inspiration from the execution, of course. So you may have a journal where you're inspired and you're making notes, but at some point you need to take that information, you need to take the things that you're consuming, you need to take the things that you've created previously, and you need to move those from the inspired into the execute phase. Literally copy and paste things, put them together into a post, and hit publish. Designing a personal posting strategy. The idea here is just to start. I don't want you to really worry about a content calendar or data collection when you're just starting out, okay? You could always batch these sort of things at the end of the week or the month by sort of like reviewing all of your posts, and you could go back and see what got more likes than something else, what got more comments, connections that you got from that post. Because every time you post something, you probably will make some sort of connections. So I want you to follow up and figure out who you're connecting with. Designing a personal posting strategy is finding what works for you. The key to any posting strategy is to remain consistent. So if you say that you're going to post 3 times a week, then post 3 times a week. If you're going to start a newsletter and you send it weekly, you send it weekly. It doesn't matter if you have 4 subscribers. It doesn't matter if you have 16,000 subscribers. Okay? Designing a personal strategy means to pay attention to what works for you in the content creation phase. So between the content audit, between the consume and create, and between the curate, design how you're posting, when you're posting, where you're posting, based on how you're creating those things. So it might be easier for you earlier in the week to do a consume and create model. You might have a content audit that you do on Wednesdays. So you need to have the creation process first, then sort of build your strategy from that. Okay, so my recommendation would be to post daily on LinkedIn. You could read something from somebody, use essentially this consume and create combined with the curate model. If you read somebody's post on LinkedIn and you really liked it, you could click share and add your own sort of commentary to that piece. So you have your commentary and then the piece. Very basic. Towards the end of the week, you could go back through your posts in your activity in LinkedIn and you can say, oh, cool, I'm going to curate my posts from the week. And on Fridays, I can create essentially a roundup post. Here are my 5 posts from the week. Or you can take a look at those posts, figure out what they have in connection, see what they mean to each other, and you can kind of see this thread of what you were thinking about all week long, and maybe you write up an original piece, kind of weaving those ideas in and out, and kind of, again, writing an original piece based on some sort of roundup of what you were thinking about that week. So designing a personal posting strategy, I will include some tools and ways that you can sort of track these different things, like when you posted and then what came out of it, whether it is comments or likes or new connections. It's nice to sort of pay attention to what works, because it could be a subject and a headline type of thing. It could be an actual material thing. And as you do this, it will evolve. So that's why I don't want to say that there's one right way to do this. What I'm saying is finding the way that works for you is best. And in these smaller doses, say like a LinkedIn post, easy to do daily. An article might be more of a 1 or 2 time a week strategy for you. But you don't really want to go out and say, every single day I'm going to write this 750 word article, because it's just not going to work. You want to set yourself up for success by starting small and executing. You will be rewarded with this. I guarantee that week to week you will be adding new connections and building your network. And by seeing who you're connecting with, you're sort of developing this dialogue of who you are. And then once we get to sort of build your profile using the things that you're posting, it's becoming much more whole and a 360 view, and it really brings to light these ideas that you're coming up with and how they all strategically fit into each other. And what you're doing is really sharing a lot of who you are with the world. All right, so the last 2 sections that we're going to go into here, I'm going to kind of zip through these. Once again, the main part of this Write and Grow workshop is the 3 main ways to create consistent content online. So, connections as a community. What I really want you to start doing is thinking of your connections, your fans, your followers, your customers, your clients, your colleagues. I'm not sure exactly, you have these different circles all over the place, but again, I'm focusing on LinkedIn, so I'll use the word connections. I want you to think of your connections as a community. So this means to think of it more of a conversation. Think of your neighborhood, right? What a community really means. It's a circle of influence. It's not saying that, hey, I'm the expert and I'm leading this situation. It's diving in. It's talking to people. it's asking questions. It's okay to ask questions when you're writing these different articles and things, because what that is it brings in people who have some sort of interest and experience in that area. So this community is really changing your perception again of who you're talking to and why you're doing this. I believe the technical definition of an expert is somebody with 20 years experience. That's hard to come by. Yes, there are experts out there in the world, but this connections as a community, I really want you to shift your perception from the idea of like a high school mentality that people are going to bully you and judge you online for the things that you're writing. The Facebook effect, essentially, where it just becomes this sort of bickering nonsense. And like, you're on LinkedIn. It's a non-judgmental place, I find, for the most part. People are very supportive. People are very interested in what other people are doing professionally. And when you are writing something and putting it out there, you are in the few. There are more people reading things than there are writing things. So when you're writing things, people are going to automatically be sort of just come into your zone. Okay. Your profile as a portfolio, we're going to talk about that real quick. From turning your profile into more of a portfolio, there's things that you can actually do to your LinkedIn portfolio in order to improve these things. So right here, when you're in an edit section, they have changed things over the last couple of years, and you might not even realize the different things that you can sort of add to your profile and shift things around. So you have your introduction. This is what everybody sort of knows about. You have this about section. This has kind of classically been here. These two things, what I want you to really focus on is not just leaving your current title as your headline. What I want you to do is write something like, I help people do this. I do this so that others can do this. Right now, mine's kind of general, communication specialist, publisher of online communities, content newsletters, remote. So I don't have to say that I'm working for Dogwood Projects because that's also all readily available. And when somebody looks at your profile, they see that. Entrepreneur, project manager, workplace learning, performance expert. So, think about the things that you do more than what your title is, and connect that to your about section. So think about it, not just saying I have Microsoft skills. It's not really a skills part. It's like, what are you about? What are the things that interest you? How are you working with different clients, and how are you managing your employees? What are your philosophies on your work? Why are you doing that work? Everybody knows Simon Sinek's start with why. Your about section right here is a really great place to think about why you're doing the work that you do, rather than just the things that you're doing and the skills that you have. Okay, there's no real value in there. So really connect your headline to your about section. That's going to be really helpful. Now right here is a newer place. You have a featured area. Now, you never had this before. So you can show your posts, your articles, links, and media right here in this section. So this is really the main aspect of turning your profile into a portfolio, especially if you're publishing articles or posts. Using images really liven up your profile. So right here, you can really see these are featured articles that I've chosen. So it's not just pieces that I've written, but they're actually in an order that I've placed them in. So it's very simple. You can click on posts. And here are recent posts. You can click feature if that's something that you want to be featured. Again, posts are worthy content. So you don't have to get bogged down by the idea of needing to produce some 3-page research article. Daily posts are helping you sort of curate this portfolio aspect rather than just a profile. Licenses, certifications, volunteer experience, work experience, down here in skills and accomplishments. What you can do here, skills, those are usually things that you can select and be recommended by others in. Accomplishments is really super cool because projects and courses, these things like taking online courses, if you're in marketing and sales, HubSpot has great certifications. If you're paying for any sort of certifications and courses out there, if you're showing yourself as a learner, then you should be showing other people that you're doing those things. So you enter your course name, the number associated with. Again, it doesn't have to be a Harvard degree. It doesn't have to be a four-year university. It doesn't have to be essentially even like in an accredited organization. If you're taking courses on Udemy and if you're showing that you're this continuous learner, then you should also be sharing that with other people. Another idea is that if you are taking courses, this is an action item. If you are utilizing your consume and create model, take your course, take your notes, publish them. Let people know the things that you're learning. What it's going to do is bring other people into your circle of influence so that you can make these connections, and you never know. You might find yourself working with these people down the road. So it is pretty basic, and it really does mainly focus around the idea of this featured column and using graphics. Again, this is a section that a lot of people don't have right now because they're not really curating it themselves, but it's worth you doing this and pulling that up. You can rearrange these things and you can move the featured column right up here underneath the about. These are pretty standard, the location of these, but everything else can kind of be shifted around. You can see you can move things around like this, and you can add several different profile sections. Adding skills, you have recommendations, accomplishments, shows up down here under projects. And these are the different projects that I'm working on within the Dogwood Projects frame. So when you're doing these things, you're also going to be recommended different connections and different people to follow on LinkedIn. Those all work within the algorithm for you to sort of build these connections and your circle of influence, and think about these connections and fans and followers and customers and clients and colleagues, all of these different connections as more of a community. And it's going to naturally happen once you're publishing on a more regular basis because of how the platform works and how technology works, and having more than the basic resume, including all of your posts and your articles and your activity, is going to bring more people into that circle. Okay, so the last piece that we're going to talk about here, and it'll be included in the follow-up email, are just some of the tools on the surface. Right now I use Grammarly, which is a writing application. It's an extension in Chrome. It's its own software piece. What this does is it helps you create the tone as well as fixing grammatical sort of errors in your writing. And it works within Google Docs. It works within, for the most part, websites when you're typing things. And that really helps you, if you're teaching something, sort of change your tone from that versus like a casual manner. And that's super awesome. Canva is a very simple, free design tool. If you have zero graphic design experience, Canva is going to be super helpful. They give you a ton of templates. It's how I've made this presentation here. And once again, it's a great sort of like into this graphic design world where they set you up with these templates, but they really make it easy for you to brand it into your own, changing fonts and that sort of stuff. But you could literally just retype over the things that they have, and they have presentations and social posts and all of these pre-sized, pre-formatted means for you to create better design things. So if you want to pull out a quote, throw it in a Canva social post template. It works great, and really, again, it really boosts what your content looks like once you're posting it out there. So once again, this Write and Grow workshop was meant to be focused on creating more consistent online, sort of motivating you and encouraging you to publish more, to create this learning loop, which is going to enhance your knowledge. It's going to expand your network. You're going to grow these connections. And it really does take this mindset shift and a little bit changing of your perception in order to understand how this works on a regular basis. It's not about getting lost in creating these expansive research reports. It's about keeping things simple, posting on a regular basis, and thinking about ways that you're already creating content on a regular basis between the content audit you're consuming and creating and the Curate model. Use the things that you are taking in and already doing within your regular life in order to jump yourself 50% of the way there, 80% of the way there. A little editing, a little formatting, and focusing on consistency is going to be key to what we're talking about here. Okay, so whether it's a career pursuit, whether it's just you want to learn about a hobby, you're curious about something, you have questions, whether you have a very specific target about what you're doing, writing online is the new networking. Okay, so once again, I'm Jeff Poseal, Dogwood Projects. You'll be getting a follow-up email from me. If you don't mind, you're included on my newsletters going forward, and there'll be different ways that you can reach out to me. Feel free to always send me an email. I have several workshop options if you guys want to work directly with me. I have a couple courses out there, the Newsletter Lab, Finding Focus. These are courses that you can purchase and go through self-paced. Otherwise, they're going to be a way for you to work with me one-on-one or in small groups, and more of a community setting that we can communicate on a regular basis, and I can help you through the very specific things that you're doing in your life and in your business. So that's it for right now. I don't really care about that. I just want you guys to get some value out of what we did today. I'd love to hear some feedback, and don't worry, you will be getting an email from me. You'll be getting access to the presentation, a list of the tools. There'll be more tools than what we talked about here, and some different templates and things that you can use right now. And thank you so much for being here. Cheers.